Leo, let's be honest right from the start, you're in danger. And this isn't metaphorical. There's a very real spiritual threat getting closer, and this may be the most important 72 hours of your energetic life. You probably didn't plan to watch this. But here you are. And deep down, you know something's off. Maybe you felt tired for no reason, off balance, disconnected from your usual fire. Maybe certain dreams or signs keep showing up. Maybe it's just a gut feeling. But somehow, you were pulled here. And Leo, that pull is not a coincidence. For the past 3 nights, during meditation and tarot readings, your sign Leo has been showing up louder than any other. And not in a peaceful way. The cards have been screaming warnings. Not to scare you, but to prepare you. That's why I had to record this for you. Right now. Not tomorrow. Because you need to hear this before the wrong energy sinks its claws in too deep. You are about to enter a critical spiritual window, 72 hours that will either break you down or wake you up. You're standing at the edge of something that looks like a collapse, but it's actually a sacred turning point. There is someone or something in your life hidden, close, familiar that is working against your energy. And the scary part? It's not the person you think. That's why this message is so urgent. If you don't recognize what's happening, this energy could strip you of your joy, your focus, your power. But if you stay with me, Harry will walk away not just safe, but 10 times more aligned, clear, and strong than you've ever been. Now, I've been in this work for decades, and I don't do drama. I don't use fear. But I do tell the truth. And the truth is, Leo, your light has drawn attention from the wrong energy. Something or someone is trying to siphon your power. And if you've been giving too much, overcaring, or carrying burdens that aren't yours, it's time to stop. You weren't built to be drained, you were built to lead. This video isn't just a reading. It's a spiritual check-in. A reset. We're going to walk through what's really happening in your energy field right now, what signs to watch for, how your body may already be reacting, and most importantly how to protect yourself and rise above it. And if you're thinking, why me? Why now? Let me say this, you've been chosen because you're ready. Ready to break the old cycles. Ready to remember who you are. You didn't just stumble into this message. Something sacred inside you called it in. Before we dive in, let me take a moment to say this from the heart, thank you. Thank you for being here, for showing up for yourself. Every like, every comment, every subscribe brings more light into this space. You being here means you're ready to reclaim something that was taken, or maybe something you forgot you had all along. If this is already resonating on some level, don't scroll. Stay with me. You'll want to hear what's coming. The spiritual signs around you aren't random. They're real. And they're lining up fast. Now, I want to hear from you. What brought you here today? What made you click? What are you feeling in your body right now as you hear these words? Leave a comment below and let me know, because when you speak it out loud, you activate your healing. Your words matter here. Let's begin. There's a lot to uncover. And I promise, what you hear next might just change everything. What I'm about to say may not be easy to hear, but it's necessary. You've entered a space in your timeline where certain energies, quiet, familiar, and subtle, are not what they seem. If you've been feeling emotionally off lately, like you're not quite yourself, like someone is draining you without ever raising their voice, there's a reason. And the cards confirm it. In astrology, when the Tower, the Ten of Swords, and Death appear together in any spread, it's not just symbolic. That trio forms a triangle of urgency. It speaks to what I call energetic collapse before clarity. These cards don't threaten you, they expose what you've been avoiding. And Leo, I say this with care, someone in your life has been slowly dimming your light. And not with open conflict. No. The damage here is more intimate than that. They don't break you with betrayal that's loud or obvious. They break you with softness. With just enough praise to keep you close, and just enough silence to make you second-guess yourself. They smile while they chip away at your confidence. They wear your trust like a costume. And when they say things like, "I just worry about you," or "you're overreacting," what they really mean is, "Stay where I can control you." We don't always notice these people right away, especially not you, because Leo, you love hard. You give fully. You want to believe the best in people. But that's what makes you a target for energetic predators, those who survive by feeding off your optimism, your presence, your light. Energetically, this type of person is a vampire. Not in some spooky sense, but in the very real way that they attach to your solar plexus and your heart space. They draw from the very centers that make you Leo, your pride, your passion, your sense of self-worth. That's why lately you might have felt unusually tired, emotionally flat, or full of doubt about things that used to excite you. From an energy healing perspective, this pattern always has symptoms. Interrupted sleep. A dream that keeps returning. A feeling that something is off when you're around a certain person but you can't explain why. That's not coincidence. That's data from your intuitive body. Numerology supports this too. The presence of the number 3 signals that something will be revealed in 3 days, 3 dreams, or 3 interactions. The number 1111, especially if you've seen it lately, is a divine checkpoint. It's the universe tapping you on the shoulder saying, "Pay attention now. Something is unfolding." And the number 21 is a closing arc. It says, after this, nothing will be the same again. And if the number 8 has been circling you on receipts, clocks, or addresses, it's no accident. 8 speaks of cycles. Of patterns repeating until you choose to break them. Of karmic loops. And most importantly, of the inner strength that lives in your spine, your will, your fire. That number is not just about abundance. It's about self-mastery. So here's where we get honest. Have you been giving away your energy to someone who makes you question your worth? Have you been dismissing the subtle signs like that dream you keep waking up from with your heart racing? Or that one person whose presence always leaves you more drained than full? If this sounds familiar, don't ignore it. Say it out loud. Name it in the comments. Write, "I feel it." Because when you name what you feel, you interrupt the pattern. When you write it down, you reclaim your clarity. And when you speak truth into a space that honors you, you step back into your power. This isn't about fear. It's about recognition. And from here forward, you won't walk blindly anymore. You'll walk aware. And that changes everything. If you're still here, Leo, that already tells me something. Part of you is waking up. Maybe not fully. Maybe not loudly, but enough to know something's shifting. And that's exactly what this next part is about, recognizing that when energy starts moving, it often does so quietly at first, like a tide changing before the wave hits the shore. Right now, you're standing inside what we call a frequency window. In astrology and energy work, this is the kind of 48-hour portal that doesn't come often. It's a stretch of time when your thoughts, emotions, and actions are magnified. Everything you focus on, whether it's fear or strength, confusion or clarity, gets amplified. It's like your soul is sitting in front of a speaker turned up to full volume. Whatever you play into it comes right back. This is why we pause here, not to scare you, not to overwhelm you, but to remind you, you have a choice. Right now. Not in a week. Not next month. Now. In this very window, your energy is malleable. The light in you is either rising or being siphoned. And it depends on what you allow in, and what you finally choose to release. You don't need a dramatic ritual or complex routine. What you need is intention. That's where your power lives. If you want to activate your own shield, the one that already exists in your energy field but may be dormant, I want you to do something very simple. Say it. Claim it. Comment below, I activate my shield. Yes, it's just words. But words move energy. And when you speak with clarity, you tell the unseen parts of your nervous system and your subconscious that it's time to stop tolerating what drains you. There's something beautifully symbolic about lighting a white candle during this time. Not for magic, but for meaning. Light that flame not to summon, but to remember the part of you that still believes in your own resilience. Hold something from your childhood, even if it's small or worn or silly. Because sometimes, the strength you need comes from the innocence you left behind. Let it remind you of who you were before the world made you question your own worth. And if you have a moment, try meditating for just a few minutes with a color you associate with power. For Leo, that's often gold or deep crimson colors that carry the heat and clarity of fire. Not the fire that burns to destroy, but the one that burns to clarify. The one that says, this is who I am, and this is what I will no longer carry. Energy work, astrology, and self-help aren't separate tools. They're all languages pointing toward the same truth. Your body and mind respond to what you allow, and what you release. So if you've been clinging to a conversation thread, a toxic social media account, or a relationship that feels heavy even in silence, it's time to cut the cord. You already know what it is. You don't need me to name it. But I'm here to remind you that the longer you wait to act, the harder it gets to reclaim your center. I want you to check in with yourself right now. Who or what comes to mind when I say energy drain? Don't dismiss it. Sit with it. And if you feel safe enough, share it in the comments. Because sometimes naming it is the first step to healing it. This 48-hour window isn't a curse. It's a gift. A mirror. A test of alignment. And once it closes, it won't open again in the same way. That's why you're here, because you're ready, even if it doesn't feel like it yet. And I promise, this choice, this shift you make now can ripple outward in ways you won't even recognize until weeks from now. Let's keep going. There's still more to uncover. There's a moment in every journey where you feel like you've already lost too much to keep going but not enough to fully let go. That in-between space, Leo, is where your rebirth begins. And it rarely looks like light pouring through a stained glass window. More often, it looks like your life quietly unraveling in the background while you're still showing up, still pretending everything's fine. That's where real transformation happens, not in the big declarations, but in the silent, honest realization that you're not who you used to be. And maybe you never really were. You've probably heard the phrase, rise like a phoenix, and it sounds beautiful, powerful even. But here's the part no one talks about: before the rising comes the burning. The phoenix doesn't soar before it's turned to ash. And you, Leo, are not just standing in that fire, you are the fire. The version of you that's been holding it all together? That version is tired. Overdue for a reset. And what's coming next isn't about going back to the old you, it's about becoming the version you were meant to be all along. In tarot, when the Sun, the Empress, and Judgment appear together, it doesn't whisper change, it shouts resurrection. It means the light in you is ready to come back, but only if you're willing to release the layers you've been clinging to. That persona. That role. That I'm fine. Rebirth doesn't happen through control, it happens through surrender. If you've been seeing 1111, especially late at night, that's not just some digital coincidence. That's the signal. In astrology and energy work, 1111 marks a moment of energetic upgrade, a point when your spiritual DNA is ready to evolve. And if that's been showing up for you around night 3, pay attention. That's your invitation. Not from some force outside of you, but from the part of you that's been quietly waiting to take the lead. Now let's talk practical. Because transformation isn't just about vision boards and candlelight. It's also about taking care of the vessel you live in, your body. In the next few days, try pulling back on caffeine. It's not about restriction, it's about clarity. Add a little turmeric or fresh citrus to your water. That golden color? It matches your solar power. It grounds your energy and helps you stay in your own frequency. Start each morning with a simple motion, arms raised to the sky 3 times, like you're saluting the sun itself. It doesn't need to be fancy. What matters is intention. Reconnect your heart space to the part of you that shines brightest, your will to live fully. And when the noise gets louder, the doubt creeps in, anchor yourself in gratitude. Not performative. Just real. Write down 3 honest things each day that you're grateful for. It trains your nervous system to remember that even in chaos, there is beauty. That even in loss, there is light. This is not the part where you fight your way forward. This is the part where you soften, listen, and let the next version of you emerge on its own terms. And if any of this resonates, if you feel that nudge, that flicker of truth, write it down. Right here. In the comments. Say, I accept my rebirth. Not for me, not for the algorithm, but for you. To declare, even quietly, that you're ready to become who you were always meant to be. Let this be your turning point. You've earned it. Let's keep going. By now, you've probably started to feel it, that subtle shift in the air around you. Not dramatic, but undeniable. Like something just outside your line of sight is waiting for you to see it. And the truth is, Leo, you're getting closer. All the inner work you've been doing quietly, maybe without applause, is creating cracks in the walls that used to block your blessings. And now, for the first time in a long time, the light is starting to pour in. Let's talk about what's on the other side of that light. Because it's not just survival, it's expansion. In numerology, the number 21 marks a full karmic cycle. It represents a chapter closing, but not in the way we usually think. It doesn't mean ending, it means ready. Ready for something sacred to finally take form. And in your case, if you stay present, stay grounded, and stay honest about what no longer belongs in your life, a soul-level love could come in. The kind that doesn't just feel magical, but familiar. Like you've met before. Because maybe you have. People talk about signs from the universe like they're always loud and obvious, but often they're soft. 3 butterflies. A song you haven't heard in years playing from 3 different places in one day. Someone randomly mentioning a location that's deeply personal to you, something they couldn't have known. Those are not coincidences. They're confirmations. They're spiritual breadcrumbs pointing toward connection, healing, and love. But love isn't the only thing knocking at your door. Financial energy is shifting too. And I need you to hear this. There's a blessing coming that you earned a long time ago. Not through hustle. Through heart. Something you gave or did maybe when no one was looking, geese about to circle back with interest. But that abundance? It's still hovering. Not because you're unworthy, but because there's still energy around you that's not safe to receive it. Sometimes the blessing can't land until the space is clean. So take a look at your finances right now. Are you pouring into people or situations that don't pour back? Are you saying yes when your gut is screaming no? Are you spending money from guilt, obligation, or fear of losing connection? That's not generosity. That's depletion. And you know the difference. The same goes for your leadership. 13 days from now, a new opportunity may present itself. A role, a request, or a responsibility that puts you in front where you belong. But this next level version of you has to be rooted, clear, and free from the noise of what others want you to be. The King of Wands in Tarot is not just confidence conscious. He leads with fire, but never burns himself out in the process. That's your blueprint now. So here's my invitation: choose courage over comfort. That conversation you've been avoiding? Have it. That project you've been procrastinating? Start it. That person who keeps reappearing but brings nothing but confusion? Let them go. You're not rejecting Anya, you're finally choosing yourself. And if any of this feels like it's speaking directly to you, write it down. Claim it. Say it aloud in the comments: I am ready to receive my blessings. Not to manifest from desperation but to anchor into trust. Because the truth is, your blessings were never lost. They were waiting for you to clear the space to let them in. You've made it this far. Don't stop now. You are walking into the season you were born to lead. Let's keep going. There's still one more layer to uncover. There's something especially painful about being hurt by someone who knew how to comfort you. That's what makes this part of the journey so difficult. Not just because something outside of you is attacking, but because it's coming from a direction you didn't expect. Maybe even a direction you trusted. Leo, by now you've probably had your suspicions. You've sensed the tension in your body around a certain person. You've noticed how your energy shifts after an interaction, how you go from motivated to drained, from clear to confused. But here's the twist: the person who's been quietly sabotaging your light isn't the obvious villain. It's someone close. Someone who knows your routine, your habits, your weaknesses, not because they guessed, but because you told them. And that's the part that stings. You let them in. This isn't about guilt. It's about awareness. You didn't do anything wrong by trusting. That's your nature, loyal, open-hearted, sincere. But not everyone deserves full access to you. Especially not now, when your light is rising and your purpose is sharpening. Some people can't handle your elevation, so they try to hold you where you used to be. Not because they're evil, but because your growth challenges their comfort. The signs have already started showing up. A strange message from someone you haven't heard from in forever. A physical item, maybe a photo, a note, a small object you thought you lost, suddenly showing up again like it never left. Or that one dream. The one that felt too real, like you weren't sleeping, just slipping into another version of reality. These aren't random. They're whispers. They're energetic markers alerting you that something deeper is trying to get your attention. And when that kind of energy surfaces, you don't need to confront it with anger, you just need to clear it. Quietly. Firmly. Unapologetically. Here's something simple that works. Write their name on a small piece of paper. Fold it, hold it in your hands, and say aloud that you release the energy between you. Not with hate, but with finality. Then burn it safely. Let the ash fall outside, or into moving water, if you can. As the last bit disappears, wash your hands with salt water, not for ritual's sake, but for symbolic reset. You're telling your nervous system and subconscious, this tie no longer has permission to influence my path. Some of you may have already felt an unusual presence lately, not dark, but protective. A familiar scent with no source. A song that feels like it's from a different lifetime. A physical object from your childhood that suddenly holds more emotional weight than it used to. That's not nostalgia. That's ancestral support. Sometimes, the strength we need doesn't come from new motivation, it comes from remembering where we come from. A grandmother's love. A lineage of resilience. A knowing in your bones that says, you've survived worse. You're not alone. If you felt that presence, even if it's subtle, I want you to honor it. Write in the comments, I recognize my protector. You don't need to explain it. You just need to name it. Because when you say it aloud, you're acknowledging the forces working for your highest good, even the unseen ones. This is the final inner battle. Not to defeat someone else, but to free yourself from their shadow. Because the truth is, you're not fighting a person. You're fighting the part of you that still believes you owe them your light. You don't. Let's keep going. You're almost through. And what comes next is everything you've been waiting for. Leo, take a breath. You've walked through every layer of this message with courage, whether you felt ready or not. And if you've made it this far, then let me remind you of something you may have forgotten along the way. You were never powerless. Not even on your worst days. Not even when you felt lost, ignored, betrayed, or unseen. You are not the background character in your life, you are the writer, the narrator, and the one who gets to change the ending. This journey wasn't sent to punish you. It came to awaken you. Everything you've heard in this video, from the energetic warning, to the rebirth, to the quiet signs that love, purpose, and leadership are circling you. It's not just prediction. It's permission. To remember what you are. To act on what you feel. To reclaim what you've given away. But the universe isn't going to shove you into your power. It's not how this works. It invites you. It asks for your signal. So if this entire experience has stirred something inside you, even if it's small, I want you to say it out loud. Claim it in the comments right now. I am ready. I activate. I accept. These are not just words. They are choices. Energetic switches. When you write them, something begins to move. Something begins to shift. If this message resonates, I ask that you give it a moment to settle. Hit like, not because it's expected but because it tells the algorithm, and the universe, more of this, please. Subscribe, not for me, but to stay plugged into the field of people who are waking up just like you. This is not just a channel, it's a container. A space to return to when you forget how strong you really are. And if you feel called, bookmark this video. Play it again tomorrow. Then again the next day. Let it become part of your frequency for the next 72 hours. Let it hold you while you decide who you're becoming. Because Leo, the truth is between the darkness and the light, you are being forged. You're not breaking. You're becoming. Becoming someone who no longer apologizes for being intense, loyal, passionate, spiritual, and grounded all at once. You're becoming someone who doesn't wait to be chosen because you finally see, you've always been the choice. The final, divine, undeniable choice of a universe that knew exactly what it was doing when it created you. So, here's my final request. If you feel a story inside you, something you've lived through, sensed, or just now remembered, share it in the comments. You never know who is quietly watching, waiting for a sign, and your words might be it. Your healing might be someone else's beginning. Thank you for your presence, your heart, your time. From all of us at Eternal Mindfulness, we see you. We honor you. And we'll be right here when you need to come back again.